Okay, guys. So, welcome once again to another section of this video. So, previously we discussed extensively on budget. Uh, One of the key model for this FP&A boot camp is the budget. We have had time to discuss about that, looking at the reasons what budget is, the reasons why management plan budget, who are the people responsible, the various stakeholders, and approach that you use. We went further to discuss extensively on when to use zero based budgeting, incremental, and what have you. Though, for those of you who were not in the previous section, that was a live section, you can there are materials resources that are valuable that you can also go back to and see what we have actually discussed on. Today's section is going to be more on the practical aspect where we'll be digging dive into building this model in Excel, right? So the video for that section is also available and the material is also available. Do well to go back to it and see what we have actually discussed so that you can actually understand where we are coming from and where we're going, right? So again, just a way to also my apologies for the little break in transmission. We've been having a little back and forth in terms of time scheduling and all of that. Reason be that there's a lot that's been happening recently, work and all of that. But thank God we are back again for this section, right? So let's get into it. So yeah, on that very section, previous section, we did some rough modeling, budget modeling, where we had to build from scratch. So today I don't want to take much of your time. I have a structured layout that we just do and work from. So in that live section, we build our budget, we give most of our assumptions, how this is calculated, how these numbers are come about, and all of that, right? How you can tackle most typical interviews that are done instantly without even relying on interview. So here I have my relevant assumptions, numbers that we're using. So when we were discussing previously, we talked about that when you want to build a budget, you need to gather all your information. And part of those information is just simple numbers that you guide you towards the base of the position you're going to do for this year, right? For the current year. Now, since we are doing monthly, we are not doing yearly, not like we are doing yearly projections and all that. So our mobile is going to be yearly. So we are going to be gathering the monthly data from this business. Right. So a typical number that we're using here today, business industry we're using here today is that of a manufacturing company. Right. So the revenue that I have revenue broken down into different product lines down to segments and channels, right? So we build our revenue. We are not going to be doing the very high level, rather we are doing in detail where we align all the pricing price are going to be using, the unit cost sold per product and all of that. So that when you are analyzing, you can actually see the detail and where necessary growth is going to happen and all of that. So it's always good, not like you are building your revenue on a high level. We can see what will become those numbers. So that's why we are starting from the bottom, from each of the modeling for each of these product line, assuming there are various prices for the product and also the necessary good adjustments for each of these units or quantity they are likely going to. So based on the historical numbers, right? So that's the essence of it. So let's go on. So yeah, let me just quickly walk you through the template that I have here and my data that I'm going to be using today. So here is the typical P&L structure that we already have, just a typical P&L structure that have the revenue, your cost, the profitability, how it is structured, right? Basically. So this is where we are going to see how if the business is going to be making profit on a month-on-month basis and where the losses is going to be coming out from. After we model revenue, cost down to what a view and all of them. So right. So that's it. We for now where we are going to be anchoring it. And on my next sheet here is where I'll be doing my necessary revenue projection, right? So here you can see that um where I've actually put to yes, so these are my major guides. Let me just take it off. So now this is what we're going to be using basically. Right. So these are the various product line for the business. We have industry pump A, pump B, control valve S, electric motor, PFIV. So these are the various products the business is into, right? So and that's the actual screen where I'm aligning here. So here's where we're going to be doing our revenue projection month to month and all of that, right? We work out, do our analysis here. And here is the historical numbers that we have gathered. So we need to gather the, like I said, we need to gather the sales data for this product line for us that will form your base, so you can see the trend and how the business has been going over time. Now this we have data for 2024 down to 2020. 2025, right? So we basically want to see the growth for these numbers. So now for 2024, for example, you can see the units sold, which is the quantity for this item. You can see from January to December for each of these product lines. These are the historical numbers and how it has look like, right? So we have the revenue here, which is what you are seeing here. Again, the price here also, the price was not given, but I've modeled it out in a way that when you do your your when you do your revenue, total revenue for that month divided by the total quantity, this give you the average price per product, the average price per this product. Now, that quantity was sold at an average price of three or 31 naira, right? This is the zero at the back of it. Right? This you do this time, so if I've abbreviated it as 100, that's about 34 naira if I'm not mistaken, right? Which start for 35 naira, 35 naira per product, right? So basically that's the average price, and we also do same for each month, yearly basis. For 2025, I can see the revenue on the average price work down to what we have. So this is basically the historical numbers that will form a basis of our projection. Also, on the historical number, these are historical P&L. You can see 2023, 2024, and 2025, right? So how the business are doing month on month, EBITDA level, EBITDA and all that, what have you. So we have the pricing history. So the pricing history is here is where we have done our color listing here. So in 2025, at what price we this selling, right? At what price we this selling actually. So you can see the price for 2023 for each of these products, how the prices have changed so far. So you wonder where the product is coming from our sales value here. Like I said, we've already modeled the price here. You can see if you do this one, this is the average price across the month. You multiply that by 100, like I said, we already converted to give you 30, 34 across, right? This is the average price of 46. So this is, if you come here, the total sales here they've made here, this is the total sales quantity and all that. So if you come here, I'm multiplying this quantity by the naira value they have here, which is 345, we give the total revenue for this particular month, which is what they have here. Right? So basically what they are doing here is that they are multiplying. If you do this divide by the quantity they have here, that's give you about 300, and 35 we give, sorry, this give you about 3.05, which is what we have here. 3.05, which is what we have here. We decide to take the average. Let's take the 0.3 with what they have here and what our view, right? So with what we are, but this we are very, very correct. So this one here is indirectly saying that the price they have used here, this is the total quantity, and the price they have used here is 0.25, right? If you multiply this by 1000, because I divided by 1000, multiply this by 1000, let's say I'm multiplying this by 1000, I'm getting 3.745 naira. Right, okay, so it's actually not 20 double zero at the back of it. So we're not using 100 basically. So this is the average price. So like I said, this is the average price across each month So if you convert this one to get the price, you can see times 1000, right? Which give you this value that you have here. So this is how much are selling for each of these products. Now for this particular product, these are much are selling, these as well, these, and what have you. So let's check that. You can see that 445 ET like that. What are formed based on their numbers. So now that we know the average price for this, that's also what. So that's what actually flows down to this price historical number that you are seeing here for each of the year. I have to bring them here just to align our assumption. So for us to know the change now, for the past 3 years, this is how their prices has been for each of these product lines. You can see 2024 and 2025. Now for 2023 to 2024, this is the good change. You are seeing this either they are saying this correct here divided by this minus 1 give the good change. Now from 2024, this shows that the price has grown by 11.29% in 2024. So the initially 2023 was 310 and 2024 is now 345. So it has only grew by 11.29% for this particular product line. That also applies to other of the product as well. So this is the for 2024 also. This you can see that we only took 10% increase from what they have in this particular, even if as much as year was high, it took 10 from here in 2015. So compoundedly, CAGRO, you can say that you are doing, sorry, you can say that you are doing this, you are saying that you're doing this, whereby this for this compoundedly. For the 3 years, this is how the revenue has grown basically. Right? So this year we are just doing our modeling to see price that we're going to use. And 2023, this is their margin, this is their margin, this is their margin as well, right? From their financial statement. So now what we need to do now, see that now that we have the price, we have the units, this is our cost structure. Just walking you through the data. These are cost structured, and for the cost which make up their direct cost, we have the raw material, labor, overhead is here, fleet, and all of that, right? Selling price of this item is taken at this level. This is it. So at each of this item here, this is their selling price for each of these product line, which we already is coming from. Yeah, you can actually link them. It's coming from here. You can see 310 here and what have you. So that is how it is for each of these units. So these are historical financials by segment, by region, and also by segment. So that's it. Now we'll move over to building our P&L, our budget based on the historical numbers as well. Stay tuned and watch out for the next video. Please, if this is your first time of visiting the channel, please, the only way you can support me is by subscribing. Do well to hit the subscription bell, and hit on the notification bell. Whenever I turn up a video, you get notified as well. This is the only way you can motivate us to keep on bringing more content like this for you. See you in the next video. Bye.